Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, whether you're grafted, all of that good stuff. You know what I normally say. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm titling this video, this is a remake of Honoring Your Mother and Your Father. And let me tell you what gave me the inspiration to do this. You know, a lot of times we're going to deal with parents who may not be in the truth. But yet we have the commandment that says, honor your mother and your father all the days of your life, that your days may be long. And the Messiah dealt with the scribes and the Pharisees dealing with this same commandment. There was a commandment of the elders, which is different from the commandment of God. The commandment of the elders had a command that before you eat, you wash your hands. Not a bad commandment, not a bad request, because for sanitation purposes, but it's not a commandment of God, so therefore if it is broken, it is no sin. He dealt with the scribes and the Pharisees because the disciples offended the elders by not washing their hands prior to them eating. Jesus came back and said, you all are concerned about the commandments of men, but what about the commandment of the Most High, which is honor your mother and your father? And he says, you all have put a twist on that law, that if you are taking care of your parents, then they not do any honor. You don't have to give them that same respect, because perhaps they could be living in your house, perhaps you could be their caretaker, a whole lot of other different scenarios that the elders had deemed that if your parents were in a stage of dependency and you were the caretaker, the honoring and the respect, that kind of went out the window, so to speak. And let me talk about that. You know, I had the honor of being a caretaker of my mother along with my other siblings, and it was nice. You know, it was a challenge because your parent, no matter what stages they go through, when you have to take care of them and they really don't want anybody to care for them because they're so used to being dependent and they feel like they're losing control. So they do things that may not make sense, but to make you know that they're in control. So they do a lot of different things. If you ever have an elderly person that you've cared for or know others, you'll know what I'm talking about. But in spite of all of that, you still have to honor your parents, no matter what situation they're in. You still have to show honor and respect to them. And when you show lack of respect and lack of honor, it is a law that the Almighty does not look highly in favor of when you don't do what He asks you to do regarding your parents. Now, it was an honor, and I give you an example. You know, in my mother's past year, she liked hamburgers, cheeseburgers in particular. Had to have cheese on it. She liked soda. She wanted the 2-liter bottle of soda. And I remember one day, I knew that the soda was not good for her, in my mind, because of her age. And the rate in which she was drinking them a lot. And so I went a couple of days and I said, well, I'm not going to take her phone call. I'll call and just check up on her because she's going to ask me for a soda. And so I didn't take the phone calls. And then when she did reach me, she says, "Hey, I thought you were going to bring me a Coke." And I said, "Yeah, Mom, I'm going to bring you one." Nonetheless, long story short, we got into a debate about it because I really didn't want to do it. So being sarcastic, I told her I was going to bring her a 2-liter bottle of soda, and I was going to put a straw in it so she can have it. She can just drink the whole thing. But I did not actually do it because I said, that's not showing respect, and that's not honoring my mother, because she wants something and I feel like that she should not have it. She would always say, "Hey, at my age, if I want a soda, give me a soda." So one day we were at the doctor's office, and she asked the doctor, she says, "Hey, is it okay if I have a Coke?" And he says, "What do you mean?" She says, "Well, I like drinking sodas. I like them for lunch, I like them for dinner." He says, "Sure. What's wrong with having a soda?" So she looks over at me and she says, "Can you tell him that?" So I looked at the doctor and I said, "Well, Doc, I just thought they weren't good for her. I thought they would not be good for her kidneys." And he says, "At your mother's age, she can have anything she wants as far as I'm concerned. Soda, cheeseburger, apple pie, ice cream. She's 85. Let her have whatever she wants at that age." So my mother had said that, and she looks at the doctor and she says, "I knew there was a reason why I picked you to be my doctor." So long story short, I bring that up. That's just a small scenario that irregardless of how you feel, you still have to honor your parent. And I did. I honored my mother. I did that, and it was a pleasure. Some of you are going to be dealing with parents who you're trying to teach about eating clean. You're going to be teaching them about pagan worship because maybe perhaps you came into the knowledge and they haven't. And they may say to you, "Hey, I don't want to hear that. Don't bring that up to me in my house." And it may make you very upset. It may be a challenge. And your parents may still make pork for you for dinner. And they may say, "Well, if you're not going to eat it, that's all I cooked." And I know people. I've gotten emails. I know people that actually go through this. And my recommendation and suggestion to them has always been the same. Those are your parents. You got to honor them. Irregardless, you must honor your parents. You don't eat the pork, but don't disrespect them. Don't disrespect them. Find a way to stand your ground as to what you eat, but don't push it down them. Don't push it down their throat. If they don't want to hear it right now, you got to respect that. You really have to respect that. And some of you may have spouses who are not in the truth. And if you have a husband, remember that husband is your head. He's your head. Okay? Show the respect. Show the respect. Husbands, if you have a wife that's not in the truth, remember, husbands are directed to love their wife as themselves. So you have to remember, you have to be respectful, and you can't be demanding because you wouldn't want that to be upon you. She may not understand what you understand as the scriptures, and you want to be the leader of your household. Maybe you didn't start off your marriage that way. Maybe you came into the truth, and now all of a sudden, you want to direct your household, and you feel like, wait a minute, I don't have control. and I want to put my foot down. Let me tell you, you're going to have to show honor and respect. You're going to have to find a way, because maybe your spouse is not used to what you're asking them to do because you've never have before. And they're not used to you being the head of the house, and vice versa. It just goes both ways. Just use wisdom when it comes to giving the truth to other people who are of age, and make sure that husbands, you love your wife as yourself when you give this information, and make sure, wives, that you obey your own husband. That's the command. If you're going to be in the commandments and the truth, the feast days, the Sabbath, it says, wives, submit yourself to your own husband. So you have to sit down with him. You got to use wisdom, and you got to say, listen, can we talk? And this is my belief. This is my faith. And what I'm asking you is that I don't eat pork, and I'm asking you for your support with this, because it's my preference not to cook pork anymore. Some of you may feel comfortable cooking pork but not eating pork. I don't know. I don't know what that household is like. And everybody's level of challenge is different. But you're going to have to sit down, and you're going to have to come up with an amicable way of getting your point across so that they're comfortable. Same thing with a husband who has a wife who's not in the truth. She comes, she cooks dinner, and she says, this is what I cooked for you. You've been eating it all of this time. Why now? Why are you not eating my food now? Well, there's a way to sit down with them to show that honor and that respect, and just, to the point, hey, I want to let you know what I believe now, what I understand, and what my preference is. You may have to do that. And the same thing with parents. Let your parents know, sit down with them, and, you may want to take them out and just have that discussion, but not being pushful in that. So I just wanted to leave that with you. I took down the other video that I had honoring mother and father because I realized that it was too shaky. It was coming in and out. So I'm replacing it with this one. So be blessed, and we'll talk soon.